Hey guys, this is MusicTechHelpGuy and welcome to part 14 of my pop rock mixing series in Logic Pro 10. In this video we're going to add the Ensemble plugin on aux tracks to thicken up the vocals and guitar solo a bit. If you'd like to practice mixing and work along with me, there's a link in the video description below where you can purchase and download this full mix. Alright, so let's get into this. Let's open up the mixer by pressing X. I'm going to drag over all of the vocals, including all the backing harmonies we created. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new send assignment here. We're going to use aux tracks to add the Ensemble plugin rather than putting it on the individual channel. So if you missed the video where I covered the basics of using sends and buses, go back to video 13 where I explain all of that. So it looks like we've got bus 4 open. So we're going to create bus 4 on our send here. And then we're going to pull up the send amount on all of those. And what Logic automatically does is it creates an aux track with the bus 4 assignment, but unfortunately it creates it all the way to the right of the mixer. I want this closer to the vocals. So one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on the channel and go to new track, or you can press Control T. And what this will do is it'll create a track for that aux track in the actual arrange window up here. So now I can take that aux track and I can pull it down and make it closer to all the vocals, and it'll also appear closer to the vocals in the mixer as well. Alright, so let's make sure that the track is in stereo. Just by clicking on the little circle here, it'll convert it from mono to stereo. And let's add the Ensemble plugin to this. So Ensemble is under Modulation, Ensemble, and then Stereo. The Ensemble plugin is essentially a chorus plugin, but it's a little deeper than that. The way most chorus effects work is they have an LFO, or low frequency oscillator, that's assigned to the pitch of the audio and can modulate the pitch of the audio signal at a certain rate or speed and a certain depth or intensity, as it's called here. Typically your LFO signal, your wet signal, is going to also be delayed from the original signal by a few milliseconds as well. So you have this sort of delay effect, but also this pitch modulation effect. With a lot of chorus effects, you only get one LFO. Here we actually have 3 different LFOs, 2 that are sine wave LFOs, and 1 that's a random LFO. And basically the random LFO just has a shape that's a bit more irregular than the sine wave LFOs. With all 3 LFOs, you can create a more rich and deeper and fuller sound, particularly for vocals. So that we're going to thicken up the voice quite a bit using all 3 LFOs. You can also adjust the number of voices you have on each LFO, which further thickens that sound. There's also a stereo spread option, so you can widen the chorus effect in the mix and exaggerate the stereo field a bit. The phase control knob adjusts the phase relationship between the individual voices. So this is dependent on the number of voices that you choose. Just be careful with this and watch your correlation meter, because if the voices are too far out of phase, you can have an ensemble effect that sounds fine in stereo but disappears in mono because the voices are too far out of phase and they're canceling each other out. There's also a volume compensation adjustment. It just allows you to cut the signal by up to 10 dB and also boost the signal up to 10 dB. And then an output mix, which basically is a blend between the wet or the dry signal and the wet signal. So because we're putting this on an aux track, we're going to keep this fully at 100%. We just want to hear the wet signal. All right, so let's play around with this a bit. On my aux track, I'm just going to name this Ensemble. And I'm just going to solo the ensemble effect. I'm going to find a spot where there's a lot of vocals going on, like the chorus here. And let's give that a listen right now. So with the LFOs, you don't want the intensity or rate too high because it'll start to sound a bit cartoonish and wobbly. Let's basically set this back to the default, so recall the default setting. And for LFO 1, we're going to use a rate that's closer to like 1 hertz. LFO 2, 3 hertz, about 3 hertz is okay. And then the random, let's use something that's like 5 or 6. Again, with all of these, we just have to be careful not to have the intensity too high or we're going to get that wobbly effect. So we're using lower intensity amounts. There we go. I'm going to pull the voices all the way up to 8 because I want as thick of a sound as possible. I'm going to put a little bit of the stereo spread on, leave the phase and volume compensation at 0, and the output mix at 100. So let's listen to what this sounds like now.
We're just so magical. This tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals.
There you go. I pulled the speed of the random LFO down a bit because it was starting to sound a little bit wobbly. So again, remember the goal here is we're not just gonna hear this by itself. We're gonna hear this blended with all the vocals. So let's solo all those vocals as well as the ensemble effect, and let's listen to what this sounds like now.
We're just so magical. This tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals, nonsensical. You keep running through my heart. We're just so magical. This tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like.
So I pulled the send amount up a bit just to get a little bit more signal going to the ensemble track. So let me just A/B this for you real quick. This is without the ensemble effect.
We're just so magical. This tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals.
And then with the ensemble effect.
We're just so magical. This tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals. Nonsensical. You keep running through my heart.
Let's also take a listen to what this sounds like just on the verse vocal, since it's just a single vocal by itself.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love.
Yeah, it's probably a bit too much on a single vocal, so I'm going to pull the send amount down on both the harmony and the lead vocal for the verses, and then I'm also going to just overall just pull it down just a touch. So let's see what this sounds like in the mix. Now let's try the chorus.
We're just so magical. This tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals, nonsensical. You keep running through my heart.
Now it might sound like just a touch too much, but later on we're going to group all of our vocals together on an aux track, and we're going to sort of compress those. So I think overall at the end, the overall volume of all of the vocals is actually going to go up just a little bit. And the ensemble level will basically stay the same. So, but we still have complete control over the ensemble effect as a whole. If we want to pull it down a little bit, we can pull it down. If we want to pull it up, we can. That's the great thing about putting effects on aux tracks as opposed to putting them on all the tracks. All right, I said I was going to do this to the guitar solo as well, so I'm going to add bus 4 to the send assignment there, and let's pull up the amount quite a bit. You can get away with chorus, quite a bit of chorus on guitar. It's pretty common, especially for solos. Let's see what this sounds like. Cool, and then in the mix. Awesome, sounds great. So that's the Ensemble plugin. It's a great plugin for thickening up instruments, thickening up vocals and guitar. They're the main things I use it on. In the next video, we're going to move on to adding delay to some of our vocals as well as to the guitar solo. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.